I'm very happy for today's track talk. It will be a little bit different, but it's definitely something that can influence our beautiful sport of athletics. With me, can you introduce yourself, please?
Of course. My name is Bram Som. I used to be a professional athlete from 2000 until 2012. After 2012, when I missed the Olympics, I did a lot of pacemaking for the Diamond League and, of course, also for other meetings. At the moment, I am the CEO of Wavelight Technologies. And this company we started in 2017. I could combine this, between my pacemaking jobs and starting up this new company. So that's a quick introduction from my side.
I already mentioned before we started recording, I am very excited to do this because I saw Wavelight and your company present on some of the best world athletics meetings. So my first question, as you already introduced yourself, can you also briefly introduce us to Wavelight? What is it generally in just a few sentences?
We have made a product which consists of 400 lights on the inside of the track, and it's a pacemaker. It's a pacer. These are pacer lights, and it helps the athletes to do well whatever they want to do. So it's basically at the company we have like two sides. One is events. One is installing like permanent installations for tracks, permanent installation at your club, and you can do all your training sessions with the system, which helps you to do the perfect training and that keeps you right on spot. And on the other hand, of course, that's where you've seen it. We did all the Diamond Leagues this year. So we did all the 15, and in total, I guess we did more or less like 20, 22 events this year. There's different kind of software for the different jobs. So in the Diamond League, of course, we help the athletes doing a great race plan, but one of the most important things from our side is to inform the spectators what is happening in the stadium. It's sometimes pretty complex. If you watch longer distances like a 5K, what is happening in this race? And I think we figured out, we introduced the Wavelights, to inform them, so they can see like 5K long, 13 minutes or 40 minutes long, what is happening. Are they in front of a world leading? Are they behind of a world leading? And this creates something between the athlete and the spectators.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Wavelight is very much connected to running. So for which events or distances is Wavelight particularly suited, and what advantages does it offer to athletes?
Well, first of all, it helps the pacemaker. Yeah. It's definitely not a replacement for the human pacemaker. I think we always will have human pacemakers involved in track and field, because the athletes they still want to have somebody in front of them. But to do a good pacemaking job, there are several things required, and that's pick up the pace at the right pace, and the Wavelight can help the pacemakers to get at the right speed as quick as possible. Well, as soon as the pacemaker drops out, there is still a target in front, maybe, or behind, the runner. So it helps. It can help, to push a little bit more. And I also can understand sometimes it can be really frustrating if the Wavelight runs away from you. That's I think part of a sport. It's also a mental thing, and we can program our system exactly the way they want to run. So before a competition, we're sitting together with the athletes, managers, meeting organizers, to create a perfect race plan. quick start, slowing down a little bit, and picking up the pace at the last lap. All these things are possible to have an ideal race.
I personally love the companies that are run by someone who was in the sport, because I feel like it's a perfect fit for you, as you are talking about, because you were a pacemaker and now you have this company which helps pacemakers. So I think it couldn't be a better duo than that. In your opinion, how has the Wavelight system how it changed and how it can change the world of athletics?
That's a good question. How it changed. What you see nowadays, I have young kids and they're 15 and 11, and they grew up with their mobiles. Well, what we saw is that people it's getting more and more difficult to focus on longer distances because it takes like more than 10 minutes. So it was getting more and more difficult to fill all the stadiums. People there stayed home, watching track and field from behind the computer because they also can switch to something else. But it's definitely this different atmosphere when you're in the stadium, and so you can feel something. We saw that the Olympics in Paris, it's completely different. So, but then you have to know what is happening in the stadium, and I think everybody's keen on breaking records. It doesn't matter what kind of records. So what we change is more knowledge by the spectators, and like I said before, there is a connection between the athlete and the spectator. We saw that, I think it was last year in Paris, when the athletes lost connection with the lamps, you feel something is happening in the audience, and they say, oh, what's happening? So you feel something, and then when the athlete is pushing and coming back to the lights, then you feel, or you hear, they're really excited, and before the Wavelight, we didn't have a clue. Maybe 5%, in the audience is lapping all the times with their own, but these are like the real freaks, in the audience, and they're just a few. And I think we organize these meetings also for the other 90%. We just want to enjoy an evening out in an athletic stadium. So I think this is one of the biggest changes.
You mentioned an example that happened in Paris. Do you also remember a specific example of any athlete or any other meetings that Wavelight changed something or helped an athlete to, I don't know, earn a new personal best or a meeting record or some other record?
Of course, we have many great stories, and it's from my position, it's really nice to have all the conversations with the meeting organizers and the athletes together, and having discussions about 1/10 of a second quicker or slower in the first 200, because it really matters. At the moment, there is a really strong generation of athletes who should have broken all the records. They have been broken in the last 2 seasons anyhow, with or without a Wavelight, but maybe with the margins, they've broken the records. For example, the 3K with Ingebrigtsen. Well, maybe he could have broken it with 1.5 or maybe 2 seconds, and I think maybe the Wavelight pushed him, another second more. One of our first events was the World Record Day in Valencia. It was during COVID. And of course, when you have the Wavelight in the longer distances, there is more to discuss about. There are 10Ks or maybe 5Ks going on the Wavelight. So, and it's always great when the coach is helping or just creating ideas and see where the advantages of the athletes are. Are they in the first part or are they in the second part? And based on that, well, create a race plan. And yeah, like I said before, it's funny to have discussions about like 1 or 2 tenths of a second at 1K.
I also love the fact that you mentioned that you're talking to coaches, to athletes, and I bet you received some feedbacks from them. So what are their feedbacks about Wavelight? I bet it's great, but just to ask.
As long as they break the records, they're really, really positive. As soon as they're not in a great shape and they have to let go the Wavelight, well, then it's can be really frustrating. Feedback sometimes it's difficult how we use it in, especially in the Diamond League. We always have like a green light, like a first target time, and that could be like a meeting record or a stadium record or world leading or even a world record. For the pacemakers, a blue light in front of that, like 5 lights where the pacemaker or the 2 pacemakers can focus on. As soon as the pacemakers drop out, we mute the blue light, so there's no blue light anymore. And when the runner, well, for example, in Silesia, well, is in front of the green light, there is nothing anymore for him, like just the old days. But he's chased by of course his opponents, but also by a light. And we also got rid of all the managers on the inside of the track who were yelling times and splits, because we don't need them anymore. So the infield is more clear at the moment. But that's so a lot of meet organizers will be really happy, because it's not always really nice to have like people on the infield.
Yeah, definitely. As I work on different sports events, I see that organizers prefer to have a clean infield and as less people as possible. So that's definitely a really big advantage. And about major championships or competition, how do you see the acceptance of Wavelight at major championships or competitions like Diamond League that you are already at?
I truly believe it will be a standard in a few years. With the lights, we also have like an event presentation tool in our hands. So we can draw attention to a start. We can support the clapping when there are 2 athletes, having their few last jumps in the high jump, and the spectators all standing behind the athletes. So when I think about Wavelight and championships, I think about event presentation and creating awareness and more and still there is at TV, sometimes you see it. Well, they create a line, like the visual line when they're doing a really good job, when they beat or they're getting close to Olympic record or a championship record. And well, this is the same. We can show this in the stadium. We don't have to show it all the time, but of course, if they're getting close, we can show and even get like more awareness, how good the athletes are.
Just to add to this, as a fan, I really think it would be great to see it at major championships, because like you said, it's not only for athletes, for pacemakers to break their records, but also for spectators. And it brings people to the stadium when you show it in a good way. And the event presentation you talked about also makes it more dynamic, and it's what we aim for right now. So I really believe in your dream too, and I really hope we will see it soon at major championships. And now a little bit about potential collaboration with the CONICA, which is a sports flooring company that creates high quality athletic tracks. Do you see any potential synergies between Wavelight and CONICA, like to provide athletes the best experience, also like connecting track with the Wavelight system?
Well, I don't know exactly the roadmap of CONICA, of course, but I see, on all the social media, that they do create really, really nice tracks, but not only tracks, also, outside the track, they create really nice things. And I think it's especially what you see is that they also connect with the athletes. Well, there is, of course, a lot of ideas and focusing from us, and I think also for CONICA, how the future will look like, and well, it will be nice, to brainstorm and see how the track of the future will look like if we combine all these elements.
One of the things that we have in common is that you mentioned you're talking to coaches, athletes, and all the people involved in the sport, and we're doing the same. We want to create the best tracks possible. So combining both tracks that we have at the stadium, changes to it, and changes with Wavelight, it can be a really effective thing for athletes, but also for the spectators, of course. It all seems like a great change that is already happening in the sports of athletics, but also can change a sport and a little bit better and a little bit different for spectators too, more dynamic and energetic, like I already mentioned. So one last question. What do you envision for the future of athletics? Are there any plans to expand your wave life system?
First of all, we want to have like that Wavelight is more or less like a standard. It's really normal that there is a pole vault installation, there's a water pit, there's a long jump pit, but it should be also like a standard that in every track there is a Wavelight system. That's one of our goals, of course. But there are but it also could be like really interesting because the track is just, it's for the athletes. And of course, there are a very variety in athletes. Of course, you have to get the youth, and you got all the middle distance runners and the recreational runners. But we also have a lot of athletes or runners, who run outside of the track and go into the forest. It's also on our roadmap to have a Wavelight for the non-track, just to bring them outside of the track and have them like a nice loop of 1K in the park. We know the park runs, but this is also something to have like a broader spectrum.
Wow, that's a really important thing, and I wish you to make all of your dreams regarding the wave life come true. I really think it's a great initiative, and I'm very happy to share it with more people on our track talk. And I hope more people will get interested to that. And because of this, I hope we will see full stadiums at athletics competitions. And so I'm very happy to talk to you today. Thank you so much for this, Bram, and hope to talk to you in the future when the wavelength will be expanded more, not only at Diamond League, but also major World Athletics Championships and in all the stadiums, basically.
Thank you. Thank you.